And I am getting just a whole bunch of uh, people contacting me, telling me more people in the attic stories, and I've already got like 15 documented here in Midland, Odessa. I got this morning, and it just come in. We'd talked before. I'd sent that proof of security camera hacking video to this person and said I'm freaking out. And then this morning here, I'm gonna let you listen to this.
Hey, good morning. Well, I know there's something going on under my house too. Like, seriously, you can hear talking, walking. It's crazy. Sometimes I feel like I hear kids crying, like, no lie. But I'm in Staten, and I know there's some shit going on here, underground wise. But I live in a house next to a church that stays empty most of the time. And on Sundays, if they go to church, probably 10 people the most. And I'm very suspicious about them too. It's been kind of crazy.
Anyway, so I got that message that was this morning. Then I wrote back, and right here, I'll read it to you. Thanks for your message. I long suspected that something was going on in Stanton, Texas. That's about 20 miles away. As the first person seen arriving at my home after I had been ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut was Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, and that's where Stanton is. As you know, I've documented this happening all over the place, and police need to do something about these dangerous criminals. May I share your story? And so the other thing yesterday, and she probably posted that because of this Facebook post from yesterday, and I wrote another people in the attic report. I just heard about another home where the police were called and the homeowner reported somebody in the attic. The address was 912 36th Street, Odessa. I suspect this home is also rigged with underground access and with a hidden pathway into the attic, so the home intruders can come and go anytime they want. The tunnel entrance is most likely coming from a neighbor's home. I suspect most of these homes are rigged in a similar manner. In January 2011, I called and reported somebody in my attic, and a year later, I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off my attic. I've now documented around 15 other homes in this area reporting these same crimes, with 2 new ones last week and this one tonight. I've also documented this happening in many towns near here and even in other states. It's widespread racketeering and organized crime. This is the print screen from yesterday's from private message yesterday. And this woman had wrote me and she's probably typing on a phone, which is hard to do. But the lady told the firefighters and all, nobody really listened. I tried to climb up there and tried to look from on the roof. I couldn't see. She said they moved into the back of her house and the whole attic had been redone, but that I wasn't about to crawl around up there to look. And I said, "Do you remember the address?" She said, "But one day my dog had went looking at the corner of the fence, looking up at that roof. It really freaked me out." Yeah, 912 36th Street. I think the lady still lives there, and she's 76 years old. So I just went over to Google Maps and I googled the address or whatever and popped a street view picture of it. And then she told me, yeah, that's the house. Yeah, she's got the police on speed dial. So the reason I asked that question is so if like here in Midland, I can put in the information request. If we had a press, which we don't have a press, or a press is working for organized crime, but if we had a real press, then they could do an information request, and then they could get the police report for this home and the 15 other homes, and you could show that this is a pattern. This is going on all over the place. And these are just the ones that we found out about it. And I think super important is that I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going in my attic. That tells you how dangerous these criminals are, and I mean, it's suspected I trapped one in my bathroom, and I've been calling the police, and that's the other side of it. It looks like they've got some corrupt police that are helping them break into homes, and they're stealing electricity and heating and cooling. So they're breaking in and stealing from the homeowner and threatening their lives, etc. And if you try to stop them, then you might get killed. And so that's how dangerous a situation this is, and the police just looking the other way, no matter how much evidence there is. And so here's was a comment. This is some of the homes that are documented where the owners have reported people in the attic. Right. And I created this list, and most of these are calls from my police scanner. You know, I overheard it on the police scanner. The owner of the house called and says, yeah, me and my family are outside, sitting outside, and we said, we hear somebody in the attic and smelling that they're up there smoking cigarettes, or whatever. And that was one call. And then I've just got all these other calls, like this Dartmouth. I looked up the neighbors of that house, and it looked like it was the parents of Curtis Lloyd, the guy that found Haley Dunn's remains. That was real interesting, because some people was wondering if Curtis Lloyd was connected to this crime ring. And he was chosen to go find Haley Dunn because I had just wrote the Department of Justice, suggested they come here and look in the underground facility for clues in Haley Dunn, and then he went out there and found her 2 days later after she'd been missing for 2 years. But anyway, that was an interesting one. And then the next one, I said many of these reports come from over here in police scanner calls where the dispatcher sending officers to a home. You can hear some of them in this video, people in the attic, and that's on my YouTube channel. And I tell us
them to come over. I just document it.
That was from a Vivint call. Okay, here's one on Providence.
Advising that she thinks there's people inside of her residence in her attic.
And so that was one of them. That was one on Providence, and they called her 1096. That means that the police declared her crazy before they even went and looked. And that seems to be the modus operandi for covering up the crimes here. Almost all of these many different crime victims that have called and reported police did their civic duty, put their life on the line, and called the police to report crimes, that could save somebody's life. They have their life destroyed with them lies. They're labeled as crazy when when these crimes are going on, obviously all over the place. Okay, on the night I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, I had burglar alarms going off my attic over and over. Previous owner of my home had told me, and him and his brother used to go in the tunnels under. As I said, somebody under my home shot me, burglar alarms going off in the attic. I believe that's how they access the attic, from under a home up a modified wall, and that's hidden crawl space, and then they break apart the heating, cooling in the attic. So basically, they're getting free room and board for life, and you try to stop them, then you get murdered. And so here's Ricky Ronaldo. When I was a kid, there were tunnels under the house. Me and my brother would always go down there, and that shows me crawling out. At this moment, I didn't know if I was going to live or die. At 12812, they had cut my phone lines and shot me from point blank range directly in the artery. I was supposed to die, I'm sure. That was premeditated, capital attempted, cold-blooded murder. But I lived. God saved my life. About a week ago, overheard a call from for people in the attic on Chelsea Place. This poor woman was being told that she was crazy, and people were wanting to get her to get a CAT scan, scan her brain, but she didn't know that there was more than a dozen other homeowners reporting these same crimes. You can hear her crying on this phone call and telling me, "I'm so scared. These criminals and the corrupt police that protect them are evil to the core." And so if you hadn't listened to this, video.
Hello, everybody. By the way, Midland, Texas. So here it is.
Let me see if I can.
Okay. I might want to find the top. I'm sorry that's happened to you. That's what they are. These are people breaking the law, and but the other side of that is they're essentially harmless. Unless you try to hurt them, then you should be okay. Until. I'm sorry that's happened to you. And I know there's
She's just bawling, I'm so friggin' scared, and called the police 4 times. Her mom called the police, and they're wanting to get her brain scanned. Because like I said, that's the modus operandi, is call the crime victim crazy, and then you're not telling them that these crimes are widespread, going on all over the place. The owner at 2505 Dartmouth was saying that people were in her attic. So I looked up the 2 next door neighbors, wondering if they had a tunnel coming to this home. To my surprise, the parents of Curtis Lloyd lived next door. He was the guy that found the remains of Haley Dunn 2 days after I wrote the Department of Justice, suggested they have somebody look in the tunnels underground homes near my home for clues into her disappearance. I wonder if Curtis was connected with the crime ring and if he was somehow chosen to go find Haley's remains since I wrote that email. Now there's more than a dozen people documented saying, hey, he was killed in Odessa. So anyways, this home, my roofer told me about it. I was having my roofer place. He said, yeah, we just did a home over there, and the owners asked us to go up in the attic, you know. So I went over there and talked to a woman named Shirley Gist, and she was so relieved to find out that, you know, because they were calling her, people were calling her crazy, you know. And you know, no, you're not crazy. These are criminals. They're going on all over the place. Looks like we got some police corruption. Looks like some people at the press might be taking some payoffs, and they're hiding these crimes from the public, and it looks like they might have murdered some people, and I'm crippled for life because of it. Okay, I recorded this one from my police scanner on July 28, 2020. People in the attic, 4711 Country Club, and I put the date because that was just, what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? There was 2 of them in last week. I mean, there's just so many. And this one I put in because it just shows it's not just in Midland, Odessa. Of course, that's where my scanner picks up and where I talk to the most people. I had people in California and Oregon and Colorado, New Mexico. And here was this in Alabama. And this woman here, she was reporting people in the attic there. And she gets up inside her attic. Okay,
I stopped the video because a lot of times it's hard to send a long video.
And so she made these videos for me and then sent them to me. And then
they crawled through here. I imagine they...
And I made this video. I'm going to show you here at the end if I can.
That we found.
There's a crawl space.
There was a hole in my ceiling to where I suppose they'd had a camera planted there. And then this, right beside my bedroom, you could just drop down.
Hidden crawl space in the wall.
Walls.
Ain't that amazing, right? And a guy in Oregon told me he found this 2-foot crawl space behind the wall. His kids were reporting seeing somebody in the room at night. I've got a print screen on that one. And so this was Phil, actually, right here. Phil in Oregon. And he says the breaking point for us was when our children began to report seeing other people in the rooms at night, and it had us really freaked out. He says, I quickly realized there was a hollow space in the wall at least 30 inches deep, you know. And then they moved or whatever, and that was in Oregon, Hillsboro, Oregon, I think. Michael Hornsberger, right here, told me he almost shot someone in his attic, and I think this was over in by Lamesa. And he says, I almost shot someone in my attic, and so that's by Snyder. Okay, I said Lamesa. That's by Snyder, Texas. I think it's a little town by Snyder, but Snyder and Lamesa are pretty close to each other. Okay, this woman from Hobbs contacted me and told me that somebody was getting her attic on Sunset Boulevard, but she also said that her boyfriend, Donnie Cobb, told her that him and his friend shot some guy in Midland. And I have a print screen of that. I wondered if he had shot me, and maybe that's what she's saying, or somebody else over here. I've sent that to law enforcement. I sent it to Sheriff Kreiner. I sent it to the Texas Rangers, you know, and I've posted it on, you know, on Facebook. You know, that seemed like big news right here, you know. She sends me a picture of the guy right here, named Donnie Cobb, and I think this is a trafficking ring. That's what this Heather O'Donnell, she's the one that told me this. And when Donnie was drunk, he and his friend shot a guy. I said, in Hobbs? She says, in Midland. All right. I mean, doesn't that seem like, and she was telling me people were getting in the attic of that home there in Hobbs. And so, I mean, it just tells you more. Here's a Michelle Self. She wrote yesterday, and she tells me, no, I'm saying I spoke to you at the service desk and told you that they stalk at night and used to live on Providence Drive and always heard stuff in the attic. I say, and so that was another one. And so then we were talking. Anyway, this is the latest video and the latest reports of people in the attic. The crimes are still going on. The police are still covering it up, and so's the press. And you know, and so that gives a steady stream of unsuspecting crime victims. Talk to you later.